See, this was back in 1985. 1985. Anyway, my mom and dad, they live on the Kentucky-Tennessee state line. I never could pronounce apple as it's Appalachian. I don't know why I can't. My tongue never, for some reason, I can't say it. I don't know why. The Appalachian Mountains. Why can't I say that? I've always had a difficult time saying the Appalachia. I've heard it pronounced several different ways. You know the mountain range I'm talking about. It actually covers 10 states. But you never would know that you can walk that trail and eventually you'll come to a spot that you can look out and see New York City. But you never guess that when you're down in Kentucky. It covers, like it's a long mountain range. And they have a small airport there called the Pine Knot Airport, McCreary County, and which is right on southeastern Kentucky, right on the Kentucky-Tennessee state line. We got word that at the airport, small airport, that a guy was out there trying to sell ultralight airplanes and offering rides, $30 a ride. So we go out there to the small airport, and there he is. And he's a real big guy. Anyway, his ultralights were two-seaters. And I love to fly. That's not my first time in an airplane. My uncle's also a pilot. I've flown with him. But anyway, my dad looks at me. Sorry for the traffic noise. My dad looks at me. He says, "You want to go up?" He said, "I'll pay your way." It's $30. I said, "Sure." And the instructor, he gave me a helmet, had a little microphone and an earpiece so we could talk to each other, and he put me on the top seat. It was a two-seater, but his seat was below mine. And so we get in, and he starts the engine up, the propeller. Now, flying, it never bothers me flying, but the takeoff always does a little bit. Because of heights, even with my uncle, when we first took off, it gets to me a little bit. But once I'm up in the air, I'm fine. Anyway, one thing you learn real quick about flying, what people has in their backyard. You might know a family, you might know somebody, and you probably never visit them once every month, but you probably hardly ever venture in the backyard. Maybe you do, I don't know, but you probably know people that you wonder how much they got. Anyway, when you fly, you see everybody's business. Now, I'm in hillbilly country. This is hillbilly country. The quote-unquote poor, right? We get in there, he starts the engine up, we take off. It was always fun. Taking off the ground always gets me just a little bit. But once I'm up, I'm fine. We're flying around, and I quickly noticed, as I'm talking to him, wireless. I can't even say the word wirelessly. Why can't I? Well, it's early. Hell, you can tell that by the sun on my face. Anyway, I said, well, there's one thing about these hillbillies. Every yard from the air I was looking at, I was looking down. Obviously, I'm flying. Every hillbilly almost had a swimming pool. And as I'm talking to him, I told him, I said, not all hillbillies are poor. Swimming pools are expensive. Even your cheap on the above ground are. As it gets me how people. I don't want to use the word lie, but this ain't this ain't 50 years ago. But this is back in '85, so 50 years before I'd been in the 30s. But anyway, as we're flying, I'm looking at all these yards. I'm thinking, I don't think there's no such thing as a poor hillbilly. I'm looking at swimming pools, swimming pools, swimming pools, swimming pools. Just this world, it just gives you such a false impression. But when you fly, you see the truth. That's what I love about it. I love finding out the truth, Well, that's a nice fishing pond they got, We found a bunch of cow. I'm not saying all the hillbillies are rich. I'm not saying that. But from what I saw, the majority, they're not poor. Anyway, we're going over. We find a bunch of cows, which is kind of odd in Kentucky. Anyway, he said, "You want to fly over them?" I said, "Yeah." We didn't have to. I'm yelling just to give it drama here. We was talking, on through our microphones, or our helmets. I said, "Yeah." He said, "Here we go." So we drop altitude. We go right over him. I mean, he said, "See if you can touch him with your foot." Don't worry, it won't jar you. He said, I'll fly just right. He was a funny guy. And that was the best $30 my dad ever spent for me to go flying. It was fun. Anyway, them ultralights they're so light, even if the engine fails, you can still land with pretty much safety. It's hard for them to be dangerous unless you go straight down, unless you'd have some mechanical failure. A lot safer than a car. I would, mathematically, yes, but personally, I think they're a lot safer than a car. Anyway, as we were approaching those cows, he said, "See if you can touch them." We wasn't that close. He was just joking about it. And I knew he wasn't going to fly that close. He says, "Imagine if you could just touch him." Oh, he's close. We was right with him. You hear him mooing. And there's probably about 20 of them. We fly right over them. Then we gain altitude. Fly around a little bit and we land. Amazing. I think they're like, those ultralights he was selling about they was expensive, $10,000 or whatever. But it tickles me watching people's backyards. It really does. Poor is not what it used to be. I mean, that's been, I don't know, what, 85, be, 30, I don't know, I graduated in 81, and I can't even think. Ain't that awful? You can do the math, but anyway. That was, I mean, even now, poor is not what it used to be. I'm looking at all these hillbillies, quote unquote, because they're not all hillbillies. Some of them are from Ohio. But anyway, I'm looking at all these backyards and I see all these ATVs, swimming pools. They're just not poor. Oh, maybe by government standards, but what I saw, they probably had more than I did.